Hi. Hi. I'm Claire. Awesome, you guys, this is going to be interactive, okay? And so this is not going to be a typical PowerPoint presentation, okay? I use improvisational comedy to open up lines of communication with groups and organizations. I laugh every day. And so I want to share a little bit about that with you and help you understand how you can bring a little bit of this into your workplace and help lighten up your leadership style. So how many of you guys know what improvisational comedy is? The definition of improv. Okay, so what is it? What is the definition of improv? Going off script. Okay, so even though you have like Addison Improv and people are doing stand-up, that's practice. They rehearse that in the mirror to make sure that they have exactly their timing down. Sitcoms are different because they actually are scripted. What we do in our troupe, I'm a part of a comedy sports based here in Dallas, Fort Worth, and we get suggestions from the audience and we make it up on the spot. All right, so it's totally unscripted and it's competitive. So we have a red team, and we have a blue team, and we have a referee. And so we play a game, like the red team will play a game, and then the blue team will play a game, and then you guys, the audience, get to vote on who you liked better. So it's competitive as well. When I talk to people about doing improv, a lot of times they're like, "Oh my gosh, that sounds scary." Does that sound scary to anybody? Yeah. Why does that scare you?
Well, it's just. You're not prepared. I wouldn't feel like I was prepared.
You wouldn't feel like you were prepared.
Yeah, for whatever it is that I'm going to deliver.
So what does that feeling do to you? What is that is that fear?
Just not prepared.
Not prepared. Okay, so when you're not prepared, what happens?
I wouldn't feel like I knew what I was doing.
Oh, but guess what? We're improvising right now.
Well, no, I'm answering questions.
But you didn't know what I was going to ask.
Well, yes, that's true.
Yes, and so today we're going to learn a couple of cornerstones of what improv is all about, as well as how you can incorporate it. So I've been doing improvisational comedy for about 14 years. I got into it because I was the director of training at Fast Science International, and we had people coming in from all over the world for 3 weeks to learn how to run a store. And I felt very responsible for them to learn the skills necessary to be successful, obviously, but I also knew that 3 weeks away from your family is a long time, and so I wanted it to be fun too. So I took this improv class, and it was kind of interesting because it was a 6-week course, and every night, like we did it every Tuesday night, so every Wednesday morning I thought about my curriculum for the day, and I incorporated one thing. And soon I figured out that when you incorporate fun into learning, oh my gosh, people remember it. You know, and then when I would go out to the franchise, the locations, and I'd see them training using the same improv technique I used to teach them in training, it's like, okay, and it sticks. And so what I'd like to do is invite you guys to give your ego a small vacation. And so if you'd like to make eye contact with the person next to you and say, I give you permission to give your ego a short vacation, then we can play, all right? So but you need to make eye contact with somebody. You can't just say it inside your head. So what happened to the energy when we gave our egos a little vacation? What happened to the energy in here? It went up. Why? You're exactly right. Why? What? You're comfortable. You're comfortable because why?
You're relaxed and you're starting to laugh and have a good time.
Awesome. Yeah, yes. All right. So a lot of times we don't give ourselves permission, right? Because we feel like we always have to know what we're doing all the time. We have to always feel like that we're in control. But guess what? We're really not in control. Right? We have to live in improv to make sure that we are acutely aware of what's happening right then and there, right? To be fully present, you cannot be thinking about the next thing that you're going to say. Like, have you ever been in a sales situation and you can just see that the guy has already got what he wants to say? It's like he's like wanting to say it, you know, and you're like, but I'm not done talking yet. You ever been in that? Yeah. It's because they're not fully present. They're already that I know what you're going to say. Do they really? They're not listening. And so improv is all about listening, watching, concentrating. It's about give and take, because we can't both be talking at the same time and have a quality dialogue. Or in improv, we can't keep talking at the same time and create our script in front of the live audience one line at a time if we're not figuring out what or if we're not listening and figuring out what we need to say, right? It's also about a technique that we're going to do a lot of work on today, and that's called yes and. So yes and is a fantastic way to deliver brainstorming sessions and things like that, because in improv we're never allowed to say no. Ever. It's all about yes and. So if you think about that in conversations, how does yes and help move a conversation forward? What's that?
It's open-ended, it continues.
It what?
It is open-ended, it means it continues.
Yes, and it allows
Someone else to keep talking about what they're talking about.
Absolutely. Isn't that fun?
It's amazing.
Oh my gosh. So what's the difference between yes and yes but? Because you still have yes in it.
But shuts it down.
But shuts it down. All right. Just makes you kind of feel better because you said yes first, right? But really, yes but is just like saying no but. It's just a little softer, all right? So I'd like to invite you guys to play a little bit with me. Is that okay? Yep. Yeah? Yes? I'm making eye contact with everyone. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. All right. So we're going to warm up first, because in improv it's always important to warm ourselves up, get out of our heads and into our hearts, where our baroreceptors are, where we're the most creative, right? And so what I invite you to do is to stick your hands up like this. Make two little L's. All right? And then you're going to stick your ears at the top of your head, and you're going to make eye contact with your next door neighbor, and you're going to say, bunny, bunny, bunny. Bunny, bunny, bunny. Bunny, bunny, bunny. Now, it's okay to be a free-range bunny if you want to get up out of your chair and greet someone else and bunny, bunny, bunny them. It's okay to get out of your chair. Remember, this is interactive. Do I have any free-range bunnies? I do! Yay! Oh my gosh, that's amazing! Wow, he's not just free range, he's the Energizer Bunny as well. That's awesome. Wow. So, what happened then? What happened when he got out of his chair?
He lost his mind.
He's lost his mind. Oh, I think he found his mind. It's right here. What he did was he just let himself have a little fun. And we all enjoyed that.
It was negative. He took me off you and got concentrated on him.
Oh, I'm okay. I can share the limelight. I'm good with that. In fact, you guys might get bored looking at me the whole time. So thank you for the diversion there. What's that?
He stole the thunder.
He stole the thunder? Oh, I can get it right back. I'm not worried. All right. So yes and is about moving things forward. And so I'm going to tell you guys a story. And every time I say a line, I'd like for you to say no. All right? All right. So are you ready?
Right.
God, good. Would you like for me to tell you a story? No. Would you like for there to be a handsome prince? No. What about a beautiful princess?
Yes.
What about hey, now? I know where you're going here, girlfriend. What about a beautiful white stallion?
No.
And they ride off on a golden, what's the thing? What's that? Chariot. Okay. And they ride off in a golden chariot and live happily ever after.
No.
Okay. All right. So what happened to the energy when you guys were listening and saying no every time? It went down. Yeah. And have you ever been in a brainstorming session where they bring everybody together and say, we want all of your new ideas. We are going to launch a new product or a service, and we want to know, we want you to think outside that box, right? And then you're like, oh, I'm so excited because finally somebody wants to listen to my great ideas. And then you get into the session and you start saying your ideas, and they're like, well, we already tried that before. That didn't work, last time, or no, I don't think that's going to work. What happens to your creativity? And you're nodding your head. So you've had that experience before. Oh, okay. So tell us about your experience. You don't have to name names. It's okay.
No, I went to work for a company. I was there 7 months, and I came in with all these fresh new ideas, and the people around me were 10-year plus working there, and I just tried to say we need automation, new technology to kind of help fill this void of manual processes, and constantly no.
And pretty soon.
I had to leave. I couldn't be in that environment.
Oh wow! So you actually left that.
It was draining me.
And it will.
It was very draining.
And I'm sorry that happened to you. And well, unfortunately, it happens to a lot of people, doesn't it? And so what we have to do is think about when we're leaders, how are we helping our people stay with us and building loyalty, or how are we helping them find somebody else to bring their brilliant ideas to? And that's us as leaders. That's what we do. And if we're not showing what good looks like and accepting new ideas, and I'm sure that's kind of why they brought you on at the beginning, is, we're really glad to have some new blood, but then, they're old tired blood. So then you left, and how unfortunate, because they lost a lot of energy. So let's try that story again, and this time I'd like for you to say yes every time I say one of the lines. So would you like for me to tell you a story?
Yes.
And would you like for there to be a beautiful princess?
Yes.
And a handsome prince?
Yes.
And would you like for them to ride off in a golden chariot?
Yes.
With a white horse?
Yes.
And they lived happily ever after?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, we have just written a beautiful love story together. Thank you, everyone. Woo! Hey, by the way, Brian had mentioned the laughter yoga thing. In laughter yoga, what we do is we help people breathe deeply from their diaphragm, because, when we're stressed out, a lot of times we only breathe from about 30% of our lung capacity. And so it's really kind of cool, because even if you're wheelchair bound, we can get this endorphin rush like you would if you're riding on an exercise bike. In fact, 1 minute of laughter yoga is like 10 minutes on an exercise bike as far as the endorphin releases go. But one of the things that I teach people, and you can do this at your office just to kind of wake yourself up, is in laughter yoga, we have a special way to clap. And so when we clap like this. So I invite everybody to clap like that for me for a minute. Okay, now stop. Now how do your hands feel? Tingly. What we've done is we've activated all the acupressure points on our hands. And so that automatically wakes you up. And so you don't really need to have caffeine if you're starting to feel, kind of fadey at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Just clap like that. Everybody will wonder what you're doing. I'm just having my own standing ovation. Thank you. All right. So we're going to practice a little bit of yes and. And what I'd like to get is a volunteer to come up and help me demonstrate. So can I have a volunteer, please? Come on up. What's your name? Penn?
Yes.
Like Penn and Teller?
Something like that, yes. Only
Penn.
a little better looking.
You are.
I try.
And you're all dressed for the occasion,
Well,
too.
we'll green, didn't put the red on today. That's
Well, that's okay. Well, that'll be next month, right? On December
hopes,
15th.
yes.
Yes. All right. So we're going to do a little bit of yes-anding to kind of warm ourselves up, all right? So I'd like for you to say, I'm going to explain it first, and then we'll demonstrate it, and then you guys will all get to play, all right? So what we're going to do is you're going to say a neutral statement about today. I will then yes and it, and then he will take the last thing that I said, yes and it, and add one more piece of information to it. So for example, maybe you say,
It's a blustery day.
Today is a blustery day, right? Okay. Yes, and because today is a blustery day, it messed up my hair. And so now you say, yes, and because it messed up your hair, and then you add one more piece of information to it.
Okay. And it was a blustery day, and it messed up your hair.
Oh, you don't even have to go back that far. You can just say, yes, and because it messed up your hair.
Because it messed up your hair, it probably messed up the way you drove to work today.
Yes, and because it messed up the way I drove to work today, I got lost.
And because you got lost, I'm sure you found yourself by a brand new shoe store.
Yes, and when I find brand new shoe stores, I have to go in.
Well, I know when you have to go in, you have to find something, and then when you find it, you have to bring it home.
Yes, and when I bring it home, my cats are all over them.
Well, yes, and when the cats are all over them, my dog comes on out, and he gets jealous and chases the cats away, and they're sad.
Yes, and when your dog becomes jealous, chases the cats away, and then they get sad, then I have to put them in a very dark room where they can be quiet and settle themselves. Thank you. You did a great job.
Good.
Great job. Great job. All right. So do you see how we created something that had never happened before? Do you see how we were able to acknowledge what the person said and add a little bit more information? Yeah, you had to listen, and the more information that got added, the more you had to listen, you know. And so that's why we encourage you just to add a little bit of information, just because it's easier for your partner to take that information and move it forward. So we're going to do that again, only we're going to do it, everybody is going to be a contributor in this story. So I need a name of a story that has never been told before. What's the name of a story that's never been told before? Probably going to have a noun in it.
Rhinoceros.
The orange rhinoceros. Okay. All right. So we're going to tell a story about the orange rhinoceros. All right. So we're going to start here and zigzag across the table. And you guys are going to listen, watch, and concentrate. You're going to yes and you're going to give your next person a little bit more information to go on, all right? I know that's a lot of information that I just shared with you. Does anyone have any questions before we get started? Good. I used to teach second grade, and so I like to put things in little small pieces. Okay, so start with a neutral statement about the orange rhinoceros, please.
There once was an orange rhinoceros, and he loved standing out in the crowd.
Okay, so yes, and because he loves standing out in the crowd, and then you're going to give one more piece of information to this gentleman.
All right. Yes, and because he loved standing out in the crowd, he had a huge personality.
Okay, so now you've got, he had a huge personality. Yes, and because he had a huge personality, and you're going to add one more piece of information for this beautiful lady.
Well, I give you the best information. I have no clue what you're talking about.
Okay, so he just said that the orange rhinoceros has a big personality. Huge personality.
If I talk about personalities, that is the main thing in everybody's life, besides their body. Okay.
Yeah, yes, and when you have a big personality, you might take over in a show. Now then you say,
yes, and when you might take over in a show.
There you go.
The orange rhinoceros had a stubbed toe.
Oh, she even rhymed. That's awesome. See how amazing we are when we're creative? Okay.
When an orange rhinoceros stubs his toe, he lets out an incredible roar.
Okay, so that's yours.
Yes, and when the orange rhinoceros lets out an incredible roar, he's heard across the jungle.
Okay, yes, and when the rhino.
Actually, you just have to add, he's heard across the jungle. That's all you have to add.
Okay, and across the jungle, there was a monkey yelling for a hippo.
Yes, and the orange rhinoceros.
Can you repeat just the very last part of what you said?
The monkey was hollering for a hippo.
That's all you have to say. Yes, and because.
Yes, and because
monkey
was
hollering
for the hippo.
There you go.
They both were put in the zoo.
And they both were put in the zoo because they were making too much noise.
Excellent.
Yes, and because they were making too much noise, everybody came to see them on that special day.
And because they came and saw them on the special day, the charity that was going on at the zoo made tons more money than they thought.
And then Disney came in and made a
Yes.
movie called Madagascar.
Okay, so yes, and because the charity made way more money than they thought, Disney came in and made a movie called Madagascar. Yes, and because
because they made a movie, Madagascar, the animals celebrated by eating peanuts.
Yes, and because they made a movie and celebrated by eating peanuts, they were safe from poachers from getting their horn in the zoo.
And then because they were safe from the poachers in the zoo, they were able then to have a happy life and live happily ever after.
Look at how he ended the story. Good job. Good job. Good job to all of you guys. All right. So, how did that feel to create something that, number one, had never been created before, and number two, everybody got to contribute a little bit to? How'd that feel? Pretty cool. It's a different feeling because a lot of times we're not always included in creativity. But, you know, as leaders, we can control that. You know, we have the right to say it's okay to be creative. In fact, I'm also a mentor up at the University of North Texas in the Professional Leadership Program. And what we're hearing from the people that are hiring our graduates is that we really need for them to be creative problem solvers. And creative problem solving doesn't happen from reading books. It's from experience, and it's from learning from each other, and it's from listening, and it's watching, and it's concentrating, and being fully present so they can be oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you guys were getting food. So they can make sure that they learn how to do all of the problem solving that is outside of a textbook, right? Mm-hmm. All right. So I know you guys are getting ready to eat. I will just close with this. I can? Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Oh, okay. Awesome. Okay.
We'd be very upset if you
So, I'm sorry? 10, 15 minutes. Oh, okay, awesome. Well, I did want to let you guys know before you start eating and get all groggy and stuff is I also am a host on Women Broadcast Television Network, and I happen to have Janie Rios here with me, who is co-owner of the network. And what we are offering to you all today is on my show, I interview entrepreneurs, people who give back to the community, and people who like to have fun. And my show airs 9 o'clock Central Standard Time every Friday morning on Women's Broadcast Television Network on my channel, Coffee with Claire. I have a segment in my show called Follow the Fun. And in this 2-minute interview, I interview entrepreneurs like yourselves and ask them about how you stay focused and businesslike and still have fun in the workplace. And what we're offering to you all today is, if you're interested and available, we've got our cameras set up, and we will conduct Follow the Fun interviews with you all before we leave. And we've got a hard stop at about 1:30. So if you filled out one of the pieces of paper in the back that gives us your information, then we'll be glad to interview you. Or if you are, now that you know what it's all about and are interested, there's still some more sheets back there. I also do a lot of team building. I work with companies all over the world and helping them open up lines of communication, break down silos, and get people to work together as a team. And I've done this with Frito-Lay and Pepsi-Cola and things like that. And it's really cool when you see line people getting together with CFOs and really starting to relate to each other. That's really when I feel like the currency of what I do is very evident. My talks are really interactive, and since you're eating, I guess I'll just talk a little bit more, and then you guys can finish up. So I'll tell you a little bit about laughter yoga. Laughter yoga was introduced by Madan Kataria in 1995. And he is a medical doctor in Dubai that realized that when his patients were laughing, their blood pressure went down, and they, of course, released endorphins and things like that. And really, when we laugh, we actually release 10,000 different chemicals that are all legal, by the way, that allow us to heal ourselves. And if all of our cells were 100% oxygenated, there would be no cancer, because cancer cannot survive in oxygenated cells. However, as I mentioned earlier, most of us only breathe about 30 30% of our lung capacity, which is really quite shallow. And so what happens is that 70% of that air is old, stale air that never gets released, and so all that toxicity is still remaining in your body. So what we do with laughter yoga is that we laugh from the diaphragm, all right? And we fake laughter till we make laughter, because your body doesn't know the difference between real laughter and fake laughter. So what it really boils down to is that you are very purposefully laughing. And when you do that, you go over your brain thinking, is that funny or not? Because you're just laughing. You're just doing it, right? And so that allows you to get the deep belly breathing from your diaphragm. And so he started this with just laughter clubs in India, and they had 4 or 5 people that were standing around on a beach, and they're just telling jokes. Well, they kind of ran out of jokes after 2 weeks, and so he's like, well, there's got to be something more to this. So what he developed are these actually techniques around improv that, we kind of pretend we're doing things. We do a lot of pantomime. And for example, do you want me to do an example for you guys while you're eating?
Yes,
okay. I can. Yes, and? All right, so can I have, it's better if I do this with somebody. Will somebody volunteer with me to play a little bit?
I'll volunteer.
Yay!
Yes. Yes, and.
Yes, and. So the other thing about laughter yoga is that it's not about downward dog. It's not about stretching. It's all about the deep breathing that you get in yoga. All right. So we are going to pretend for just a moment that we're pouring hot coffee.
Okay.
Okay? All right. So if you were going to pour a cup of coffee, what might that look like? Okay, so he's got a big mug. Do you see that? He's got a big mug. And his pot is really full. Can you see that? Because he's holding it with a really strong grip, all right? And in improv, that's really important because we don't have any props in our shows. So we have to be able to show rather than tell what we're doing, all right? So he's got a big mug. He's got hot steaming coffee, just finished brewing. And so he's going to pour it into his mug. Boy, that must have a long spigot. Okay. All right. So we're pouring it into our mug. All right. Now go ahead and set that down. Okay. So he's got his coffee, and it is piping hot. Piping hot. Oh, I need to get some too. Can I have some?
Oh, yes.
I'll get a mug too. Oh, thank you. Ooh, that smells good. All right, so we've got this really hot coffee, and it is so hot that it's going to burn our lips. But instead of burning our lips, we are going to laugh hysterically, okay? All right? He's like, what did I volunteer for now? Oh, look, you're already warmed up. Good job. All right. So we've got our mug. Oh, you even hold it with 2 hands, okay? Because are your hands a little cold right now?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're gonna hold on to our mug, and we're gonna put it up to our lips, and then as soon as it gets to our lips, it's boiling hot, but instead of burning our tongue, it's gonna make us laugh hysterically. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Do you feel right here? Awesome. You got it? Now, there's 3 places that we laugh. We laugh from our throat, we laugh from our mid-sternum, and we laugh from our belly. And our belly laugh is the one that's going to push out the most air, all right? So tell me about your experience. What did you just, besides letting your ego stay on vacation for a little while longer?
Which isn't that easy.
Oh, okay, good.
I mean, it's, you get this feeling of it's forced at first, and then you start to flow.
Yeah, oh, I like that. Forced first, and then it flows, all right? So that's kind of like when you're creating some transition in your organization, isn't it? At first, everybody feels like they're kind of forced into something because it's new and it's not normal for them. But once they start understanding why, and they start understanding how they fit into that team, then it's like it just starts to flow. But you got to get out of your comfort zone, don't you? And I'm telling you, laughter yoga gets you out of your comfort zone really fast. Well, so does improv, I guess, so think about it. But can I have another volunteer? We'll do another one.
John Allen, please go to the front.
Okay. And so, Rob, you've actually been to laughter clubs.
My parents are part of the laughter
So so tell us about that experience, since you know firsthand about that.
So,
come up here so everybody can see you.
Sure. They go to a particular spot in the city for morning walks, where a lot of people go for morning walks and runs. In that park, they have what's called a laughter club in Calcutta. It's conducted by 3 or 4 people, and typically the way it happens is they get into half-an-hour sessions in the mornings. It's like a circle. It's like a large round circle consisting of about 10 to 15 people. Each of them kind of tries to tell a joke and tries to laugh. Everybody else tries to laugh on that joke, regardless of whether it's funny or not. The point is actually just to laugh and that's a kind of exercise to release your endorphins and all that.
Yes, and when you're releasing those endorphins, it makes you feel a lot better. So you're really ready to start your day. And so it's really kind of like, it's not just yoga for your diaphragm, but it's also yoga for your mind, because you're wide awake after you laugh. Have you ever laughed so hard that you kind of cried? Yeah. Well, laughter is also a very strong release mechanism. And so I've actually had laughter yoga sessions where people started crying because they haven't laughed in so long. I do this a lot with people that are in retirement homes and things like that. And they'll come up to me and they'll say, I haven't laughed like that in years. And then I think how sad and how glad I am that I get to be there and help them get back into remembering what laughter looks like and feels like, and what the sensation is. It also, as a side benefit, massages all your internal organs. How many times do we get a massage inside? Not. Rarely. Yes, rarely. All right, so we're going to do. No, you're not done yet. I got a testimonial, and we're going to play a little bit. Sure. Okay, so let's think about when we brush our teeth. After we're done brushing our teeth, we'll floss, right? So what does it look like when you take the dental floss out of the little packet?
It looks
You got a little packet, and then you have to flip up the top, right?
Yeah.
You going to do it with me? Okay.
Well, okay, yeah.
What
I have is those smaller single use of those plastic, the way it's attached to sort of a hook or something.
Okay.
I don't know what's the name of it. But
like those dental pick thingies or something like that. Well, I'm going to let you borrow some of my dental floss so we can do my exercise, because when we do this exercise, if you stuck what you had where we're going to stick it, it would hurt. And it's all clean, don't worry. Because we're like flossing. Come on, people, where are you going with this? All right. So I'm gonna flip up the top for you, and I'm gonna pull some out, and then it has to get cut off, right? Sure. So I'll give you a little piece, and then I'll pull some out for myself, cut it off, and then I'm gonna put this down. And what we're going to do, instead of dental floss, this is mental floss. And so we are going to put it through our ears, and we are going to clean out our brains, because apparently some of them are kind of dirty in here, all right? So we're going to thread it through. Yep, go inside. Make sure you have enough reach. Now, when we do this, we're going to laugh hysterically, and we're going to make eye contact, because when you make eye contact when you're laughing, it like the mirror neurons make the experience even that much brighter in your brain. Okay. All right. So we're going to make eye contact. As we're cleaning out our brains with our mental floss, and we're going to laugh hysterically. Are you ready?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Good job. All right, good job. Give it a round of applause. I'll take that. Okay. Thank you. We'll throw it away. All right, so it is about play. It is about getting out of your head and into your heart. And as you notice, we laughed from the 3 places. We laughed from our throat, our mid-sternum, and our diaphragm. So I really do appreciate all of you guys being here today. I do perform at Comedy Sports. We're kind of vagabonds right now, but if you go to our website, you can see where we perform. I invite you to tune in to Coffee with Claire, 9 o'clock Central Standard Time every Friday morning. Or if not, we are on Roku, we're on Hulu, we're on Comcast, we're on Apple TV, we're on iTunes. What else am I forgetting? And we have an app that you can download on Android as well as Apple phones, and it's called Women on TV.